Good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching, doing the market preview for 5/8/2019. Should be an interesting day. Made a few changes to the room, and I'm going to try to take some time to explain those this morning briefly. But first, we have to get the charts done. Just really quick, if you'll read this, past performance is not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only, and you can lose your ass trading futures. Make sure you know what you're doing and that you have a good risk management plan. We are gapping down across the board, down 11 on ES, minus 44 on NQ, and we have a little bit of volatility for the first time in a while, and that's all good. So first, let's start off with getting CL knocked out really quick and do the charts and get them posted up. I apologize, I did not get them done. I think Lois kind of hit it on the head. I just kind of wore myself out the last couple of weeks, and I've been tired. So there's nothing else to say about that other than that. It's just been a little tiring. So this becomes swing high currently. Let's adjust it real quick. There we go. And let's throw up the key areas. It's a good anomaly. It is, of course, oil inventory day today. So anything and everything goes. Expect higher volatility as a potential, although I'll grant you, volatility has been relatively muted. Although last week was better than it's been in a long time, overall, it has been muted. There's no question about it. That's prior day's points of control. It's always a blue zone, which means it can get traded through and or be choppy, right? Versus a yellow zone, I'm pretty much ready to willing to take it. Like this, see how this is more than 24 hours has passed here? That is a good location, right? So that still stays yellow, doesn't get elevated to white, and it's yellow and it's resistance until broken. And then everything else pretty much stays the same, except I need to make an adjustment here. So see how these are spread out into two areas and quite a bit of distance. So this is in essence one zone, but I'm going to break it up into two. Okay, but the whole thing is valid. And because they're separated, they become light blue because it's very difficult to tell which one it's going to respect. So the whole thing is one big fat zone with two specific areas. Then let me look at this upstairs here real quick. Let's fix this. And then this whole thing is actually valid yellow location. Dun, 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 dun. I think I got it all down, except that when I do this, it makes me want to fix that bottom area. Like that, probably. That's about what I want. And then let's look above. Swing high, top of open window. Let's see. There we go. Mid of the half gap. Again, I'm burning the first half hour. If you need to trade it, you're with the wrong guy, most likely. Mid of the half gap. valid anomaly, white zone. So, and then let's look below, make sure I get everything marked off, and I don't. And then because it's oil inventory, we'll stretch down to here. Those are naked volume points of control. They're easy areas to tag. Let's see what's off to the left here. In between that 60 and 59. And we have the mid of a half gap too. Interesting. So this is bottom of open window. Top of an open window, Dalton's gap fill, untested anomaly. Let's draw that back a little bit. And then there's an untested anomaly there, but I'm actually more interested in the mid of the half. So let's do that. Wow. So what happens is this whole thing, you want to put in your notes, that whole thing becomes the mid of a half gap. That whole area, just basically that whole block becomes important. And then behind it, you get, crap, that's valid, unfortunately, because it's all stacked on top of each other. That's valid. See, that's basically all one big fat zone. So you'll just depend on the intraday setups in that area. Cool, Randy. And then we won't worry about it past 59.30 off where we're trading. Maybe I need to do a little bit more in case it gets nuts. And then I would say this is one very valid zone. And then on the downside, oops. And then we will worry about it if we get past 59.60. How about that? So that translates into this. Right? Friday's high. Nope. Chart setting number 9. I bet what I just did. I know what I just did. Advanced settings number 9. Ha. Know what I did. And that is, I'm not going to redo it, but what I will do is chart, duplicate chart, chart settings, won't do 800 days, 10 days, analysis, clean chart, 5 minutes, chart, detached chart. That's what that translates into. There, and you can see we're just trading inside prior days high and low. And we're chopping, this is the overnight. Here, I'll show you what it looked like overnight. And you can see we just have been trading through. See that blue zone, how you can get traded above and below? That's why it makes it a difficult place to trade, right? See how we reject swiftly out of the consolidation underneath, backside test, reject, right? That's why you want to focus on the yellow zones and the white zones versus the blue zones. And this whole freaking area is valid for potential reversal. And then if you look upstairs, so we'll just do the top of the yellow zones. That kind of gives you clear areas above and below. And if you see a whole area just stacked with yellow zones like that, it's actually pretty good. There's a ton of reason to get reversals in that area. So let's do edit, copy chart to BMP, file, save as, JPEG, CL, 508. Save. And I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Inventory's at 9:30. Everyone knows that I kind of just skip over. And then, so for those who are joining on YouTube, I will post this. I know what I forgot to do. Here, I'll do this really quick for those who want to join. And then I forgot that I could, let's kill this, let's minimize this, and let's go and am I missing this? Why can't I get a there you go. Okay, so let's go do, so that's the CL level. Let's get it right over here to the side and go do ES and NQ, and then if we have time, we'll do Russell. Okay, let's do, I guess we'll do it the other way around. We'll do NQ really quickly. And I know what I'm doing wrong here, so I'm going to fix it. There we go. Here we go. Screens all organized, and I have another screen for this computer today, which will make life easier. So NQ profile, let's go fix this really quick. Gone, 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 gone. Yellow, right underneath that, green is just prior day's low. Tie. POC and volume point of control all together. We're going to just stretch that zone out like this. Very good location. Light blue. There's nothing there, but that's often an area of rejection. So everything else below is okay. This needs to be fixed. Till we get up here, but there we go. That translates into yes, 5 minutes, and that should be right. Let's see if that looks right. Ta-da, it does not. Why? Hold on one second, guys. Excuse me a second. Okay. Let's get this finished up. Dun, 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 dun. Why is this not copying over? Could have sworn I did it right this time. Chart settings, chart number 4. Ah, that would be the reason why. Here we go. Sorry, a little airheaded today, but I'll get it fixed. So now, is this right? Let's see the top and we'll know. Yes, it is. Friday is high, Friday is low. Yes. Okay, so see overnight how on NQ, how we keep trading through that blue area there. They used it initially in Asia. They used it as support, but then it slipped right through. So it is support. It is resistance. It's just easy to trade through them. That's why I don't like to lean on them. That's it. Pretty pure and simple. Not a massive challenge, right? That's the primary reason why the light blue, yellow, and white zones are what we're focused on to get good location. That shouldn't be there, so let's erase it. There we go. Edit. There we go. Let's get this posted up. Where did it fly to? There we go. File. Save as JPEG. And we'll do NQ 0508. Save. Post it to the room. Got it. Thank you, Randy. NQ 0508. Okay, post it to the Slack channel. Thank you for Wednesday. Okay, and now I'm going to post it also to StockTwit, so those who are joining on YouTube can see it. And mostly because I don't care that much about the zones as I used to. Thank you. Okay, and let's go. So I'll scoot this over. I know where those levels are. There we go. So we are clearly opening inside of yesterday's range on NQ. Let's go do ES real quick. Okay, yes, you can see we've started to one time to the downside. Again, overall, if you bring this picture in, it's not bearish yet, right? Pretty much a nothing in the bigger picture of things, all right? So let's go take out, and you can see we came right off support yesterday, right? That level was there. It's not imagined. That level was there, right? So let's go take all this out. Here we go. Now this goes to yellow. This goes to yellow. This goes green. All green denotes prior days high and low. Guys, and I apologize. Lois Joyce, excuse me, had it right on the head. I am tired. I fell asleep last night on my sofa at 7 p.m. It's basically as soon as I got my girls to sleep, I was out like a light. Oh, look at the volume point of control and the TPO point of control are totally separated. In this case, I'm going to make them both yellow zones because they're separated, but that's a double distribution. I'm going to denote the pink line is value area high. There's really no zone there, but it can serve as resistance. The volume build's actually right back here, right? So it'll be light blue. So see how I have nothing to work off on the TPO, so I switch off to the volume profile, and then I'll leave this alone. This is still valid right underneath. It's untested, but it goes light blue because its counterpart was tested. So it's a maybe. Hole in profile, you'll want to denote that from here to here. We tend to chop in those areas. Okay, so I make those dashed light blue lines. Sometimes it rejects, sometimes it shoots straight through. It's just something you need to know. There's a hole in the profile there. It needs to be filled in. So that's what that means. And I think that does it. In case we really get melty, we'll add that. All right, and you see we're opening inside prior day's range, so not bullish or bearish, right? Just is, right? Trading above prior day's high will usually get rejected and traded back in the first time through. Again, we're in a bull market, so buyers have the edge. Overall, if we get above, you can drive up. And obviously the China news is front and center. Expect there to start to be statements popping out. And then let's find ES here real quick. Oh, I really didn't do this on the wrong one, did I? Sure as hell did. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do to fix that. Yes. Right click, duplicate chart, chart settings, 10 days, analysis, clean chart, 5-minute bars. Okay, and there we go. And here's your look from overnight as far as the levels were concerned. That was ES during the day. That was overnight. You can see we've pretty much went, if you look from Europe, we held that top support zone, right? We opened up in Asia just underneath, rejected, got above, held, got back underneath, never backside tested, came to support, attempt at responsive buyers. That's a viable trade, right? You took it from 77, you got your rotation up to 80, right? Traded underneath, but notice the lack of negative space, got back above. Now we're backside testing that anomaly. Again, that's a valid location, right? It's just a question of whether they can hold it. And then what's underneath? Prior day's low. And the next valid support level that I'd really want to attack would be that 28.48, right? This is a maybe. This is an old swing low. It's not a key swing low. It's just a swing low. You'll obviously find potential springs and traps right underneath. You want to see it trap back inside and push the other way. Okay, so let's get that printed up. And since I like to look at it from the day session perspective, we'll get rid of the overnight. And I consider all the new zones freshly tested once the US session opens. So we'll do something like this. And if we get below 28.10, I'll go drag them out, right? So those are the levels above and below. Remember, this is a poorly auctioned area up here. Edit, chart to BNP, file, save as JPEG. Yes, save, guys in the room. Yes, 508, open, yes, 4. Okay, now all the charts are uploaded. I'm sorry for them being late. It was not my intention, but that's how it shook out. I was really tired. We really had a pretty phenomenal day. I did, at least yesterday, right? And now I'm ready to carry that over into the trading day as a whole. Post. Yes. And now all charts are posted both on StockTwits and on the boards, guys. There's no place, and Twitter. There's no place you can't get them. So let's detach this chart. Detach chart. There we go. Scoot it over to its happy place. Get rid of this. And again, these are just side notes for me, so I know where support resistance areas are sitting. Why the heck can't I get? There we go. There's the S. There's CL into the blue zone. Right as we speak. Again, easily traded through. Inventories, top of the hours at 9:30, excuse me, bottom of the next hour. And there's NQ, which is into its yellow support zone. And I'm going to get rid of the overnight on that. Okay. Oh, my computer's working hard. It did not load it right away. There we go. And still inside prior day's range and inside that last rip. By the way, just one note, guys. For people who are trying to short the end of the day, and I was short near the end of the day, right? This is not abnormal, right? Do not be surprised, right? If you're shorting the end of the day and you get your head torn off, that's 75.80 to 76.80, right? In a bear down market, you got ripped for 100 points, okay? Shorting the end of day, when everyone goes, oh, what's the big deal? You see people on StockTwits and Twitter, oh, it's totally fine, no big deal. That whole rip, if you look from where that took place, you got complacent, 1440 to the close, face ripped off. Don't do it to yourself is my suggestion, Okay, so you can see we initially attempted to hold the yellow zone. Now we're underneath. This is what I'm targeting for a long on NQ if we can get down there. All right, now let's go to the actual entries and exits. So let's see what I have on this chart. Okay, this is my ES and CL. I had NQ on a separate chart. Okay, so remember, just like yesterday, right? I want to see a cross. So see how we've crossed up here? Even on ES, see how we've crossed above and these have pushed back? I am now looking for my first shift up to shove this to the upside. Even pre-market, by the way, I did not look if we have econ coming up, so I will do the lookage and tell you. No econ this morning, none. 930 oil inventories. That usually argues for balance. So my argument here is because this is crossed up, I'd want to be long ES pretty much right here. Actually, it wouldn't bother me in the least. I would expect it to attempt to push up from this location. Right? That would be my general expectation. We'll see if that does it. That would be my guess is that they're going to attempt to push that up. Okay, so we'll see if they follow through on it or if they don't follow through on it. But that would be my general thought process there is you've crossed, you've gotten the pushback on a 310 oscillator, and that generally leads to pushes to the upside, just like it's doing right now. There's your shift up. You just want it to hold the swing low now, whatever that happens to be. It looks like it's 73 for the US session, right? See how we did that? Crossed, pushed back, and now rolled back to the upside. An almost immediate response back to the upside. Do you see that? That's literally from where I pointed it out, 5 points up, right? Right out of the gate. It's really pretty awesome setup. So I can't do better than actually point it out. Again, I went through it in detail yesterday. It's now 6 points up, right? And I took one contract on that. I wish I took two, right? It was literally that fast, right? So I want to show you what set up the trade, right? First of all, there's the shift up. That's the algo. We've gotten to 3 across is here. We haven't gotten the shift up, but there's 3 across, highlighted by the blue, right? If you look at the chart, yes, right? Look at what we're sitting on, right in support. See that? Okay, so if you look, sorry, I'm not going to call trade in the first half hour for guys in the RAM. Everyone already knows that. There's the cross. Here's the pushback. Right there, right? Right in there. Bam. Popped away, right? So that was immediate. I literally said it 28.73.50, 28.74. We're literally trading 28.79 right now. We've traded as high as 28.82. You can't get better than that. That's just that's all there is to it. You cannot, right? So we're looking for the divergences specifically, and you can see as we're pushing into the low, right? Randy was asking about this yesterday. See the divergence, Randy? We're pushing higher. Price pushing lower, right? Cross right here. Cross right there. I apologize. After we crossed, see how it was pushing back right over here on the lower oscillator, right there. See, here's the cross. There's the pushback, right? We don't get underneath this lip, rocket ship to the upside. Does that make sense to you, Randy? Okay, so it works in all time frames. You're just got to be pretty handy on how fast you're going to be. And then the first 30 minutes, everyone knows the rules, right? When you get smacked in the first 30 minutes, it's because all the volume is pumping through there. But and I didn't even take it in my own account. I only got it in the tiny account, right? I took one contract, 5 points right there, right? So I didn't even put in 2 contracts. I took one. Yeah, and I think that's fine. Like I said, neither one of those are my invention. Putting them together is, right? That part I haven't seen anyone do. I'm sure someone's figured it out besides me. But when I saw that, I was like, hell yeah, that's what I want to do, right? And so now we just wait around all day. It's set up earlier in CL as well. Here, I'll show you the same trade. Here's CL. So I'll give you the crowded chart, right? And then we'll put all the pieces together. So if you look over here, and I was looking earlier in the morning, while I was still pretty brutalized by my children. Okay, so see this right here? So here's the first cross. Right, so see how we've pushed down? So see how we've crossed up right here? Now, the first thing you're going to notice, so this is overnight, right? You clearly have divergence on lower price, right? Where's our last wave that we have to get above? Takes place over here to the left. Again, I'm not overly worried about trading the first 30 minutes, other than I may have had the low and kicked it out, but that's beside the point. No big deal, right? There should be plenty of trading opportunities today. So that whole thing's on divergence, right? So see how this crossed above and went up right here? We crossed above right here. So now I'm looking for my first pushback. Okay, so see the pushback? Let's see, cross, pushback right in here. Okay, so it doesn't always work perfectly like it just did, right? So if you look, this is the first location right here where the with the 310 oscillator has pushed back, right? So you can see in this particular case, had I taken this shift up, which by the way, I probably would have, right? But you notice I've got 3 across right here. And in order to make that trade work, you still got to keep up with your waves, right? I've got to get above this wave to make it lift. I just have to, right? So if I take it here, I risk getting stopped, right? Obviously, I'd want my stop just behind here. So I'd probably put it right here. And so my entry probably would have been, I either would have taken it straight up into this negative bar right here. So my entry would have been around 61.11, or I would have waited for the shift up, which would have been 61.20. Either way, no matter how I did it, well, actually, that's not true. If I take it back here, I was able to get the scale out, right? But the reality is I probably held for the break and the push back above, and then the hopes that we were going to break that wave right there, right? This is the last big wave from here to here. That's what I have to get above, okay? So then watch as it's going across, right? So then we uncross ourselves. I obviously got stopped. I'm like racking, upset, not happy, right? I get stopped, okay? Then we move along, right? And we cross again, right? I'm going to call it there. But you'll still notice, right? Still look at the divergence. Price is still pushing down. Right, see that? Price is still pushing down. MACD is pushing up, right? So we cross again, and you see right here is where we start to press down again, right? Now, I have 2 choices again. I can wait for the shift up, which if I do, this becomes my entry right here, stop right there. The whole point behind that, guys, right, is number 1, now I have to get my 3 above. So you see I have my 3 across, but the shift comes way late. Doesn't matter. There's 3 across. There's my shift up. That gets stopped unless you took the smallest of profits, right? But here's my 3 across again, right here, right? So either this 3 across, shift up here, or this 3 across, shift up here. Doesn't matter. But as soon as it pushes back, I want to start accumulating that trade, right? So if I start accumulating as soon as it goes negative on me, right? Like right here, if I take this speed bar, it's still going to bleed a little bit against me, right? Or I can wait for the shift, stop below, and now look at my RR. Let's say I took the worst possible entry, which would have been this shift right here, 61.20, and now it pops to 61.70. So did I lose 10 to 20 cents the first time? Yeah, I made 70 cents the next time and killed the roll to the upside. Now look, we know this is resistance up here, right? So see how it comes across here? Goes all the way. So see how it rejects first time in, rejects out the bottom of resistance. That's the last biggest wave down. Then it goes to the top, rejects off the top. This is where this is valuable. See how we never cross up into this until right here. See that? and it's a little tiny cross. But see here, you're clearly crossed at this point, and you've clearly diverged on top of it. See that? See that? Okay, now we've crossed, we've diverged, right? And now I come over here and I'm going to go, please, on this oscillator, right? I've marked this here, go negative, go positive, right there, right? And now I can take my shift down, excuse me, right there, put my stop right behind here. And there's your roll to the downside, right? So you ended up with an entry of around 61.50 for 61.25 at best. Not a phenomenal home run trade, but again, remember, we've pushed up and now using the waves, right? So if you look, here's the last wave up right here. So that's clearly the last measurable wave up. You have to get up underneath this wave in order to make it to the downside. So there's 7 components to this, right? So it makes it more difficult to trade it. Again, I'm not doing anything right now, guys, until after 9 o'clock because I'm just going to warm up and I want to make sure the room gets it. I already know I'm going to make money. I want to make sure the room gets it, right? So there's 7 components. The 310, the volume weighted MACD, okay? Divergence, right, against price, third, right? The MACD differential after the cross and after the divergence, that's 5. The wave, right, that has to be taken into consideration, that's 6. And then the shift up or shift down is 7. And if you want to count the 3 across, that's 8. 8 components you have to have listed out there, right? And each one requires a certain understanding of how they work, right? But if we'll put all of those 8 together, eventually become like driving a car, right? So think about the same concepts. I'm teaching my daughter how to drive right now, right? There's a gas pedal. There's a brake pedal. If you drive a manual, there's a clutch and there's a stick, right? 4, there's a steering wheel. There's 5, there's turn indicators, that's 6. Windshield wipers, that's 7. There's headlights, that's 8, okay? 8 pieces, right, that you need to know just to make the car move, plus the ignition, that's 9, right? That's 9 separate pieces to make the car just turn on and be prepared to move forward, right? And then 10 is you actually have to start putting input in, right? It's the same thing here. So what that gives us is, so let's say right here, I want to be short, right? The way it works, first of all, is unless I have a cross of some sort, right, I don't even consider looking for a trade. So right now, if I go, oh, this has to be ultimately short, I'm not even looking here because there's no cross for me, right? So over here, once I get the cross and I see the divergence, I'm going back over here and I'm going, what's my last wave up, right? I'm looking at this right here and I'm going, I have to get underneath that to really push lower. That's fine. There's still possibly a trade there. On top, right, what do I have? I have 3 across. I have 3 across with a shift, right? So that's another component. And then my last push up, even though it's not the biggest push, is this wave right here, or you can count this 3 across right here. Either way, it has to get underneath 61.45. Again, I'm just eyeballing it, right? Then finally, I've got my divergence. I've got my cross. Now I've got my 310 with my MAC diff pushing positive, right? And then finally, shift down, stop above the anomaly, roll to the downside. Does everyone see that? Does that make sense? I'll go over it again and again, but that's what I'm looking for in all the markets in order to set up the trade one way or the other. Okay, so you can write those pieces down, right? And then the last piece is, like I've been working, and Joyce has been working really hard and doing a great job, right? And Randy, I'll cover it with you in our coaching session, right, in detail. But each little piece requires an understanding of what the hell's going on with it, right? Unlike in a car where it's just turn on the car, hit the foot on the brake, hit the gas, steer the steering wheel, and it goes. You actually have to understand why each piece is working here, or you'll have uncertainty in your trading decision. We just assume cars are going to work, right? But it doesn't always work out that way, okay? In trading, you got to know each piece, and most importantly, size correctly, because there are stops, right? As you witnessed yesterday. So if you look at my P&L, I was up 100 NQ points yesterday in my tiny account, right? And you saw yesterday I was up 90 points, made one decision error on 2 contracts, drew down from plus 90 to plus 70. That's a $400 swing. For a lot of people with a small account, they're like, that's difficult, right? And then I came right back on it and pulled back 30, ended up today plus 102 points, right? So I intend to do the same thing again today, right? I'm going to follow the exact same process. So see this here where I was like, oh, that must be short. It's not, because this is my first requirement to get across. Over here, secondly, I'm not going to trade 30 minutes in front of inventory, right? But this is my first clue. I don't even have to do any work until I see this. So to scoot this over, and again, anyone who needs the charts, who's in the room, right? Even if you don't want to be coached, I will charge you for setting up the charts, right? It takes time, but I will set up the charts for you, right? It's not a state secret. Yes, see how we've crossed over here? See how we crossed? We've clearly gotten price divergence. Over here, now I get these 3 across, shift down. I can take that shift down for a trade to the downside. What do I have to get underneath? That's the last big wave up. So this short is going to run into difficulty against this wave pushing any lower, right? And so how do I know where my big trades come from? I'm going to show you, right? So see this right here? So watch this roll to the downside, right? We're going to go back to 2 in the morning. See that giant push right there at 2:56 a.m.? I'm going to step you through it right here. In order to get a big roll down, I need to get underneath a big wave. This is my big wave. Notice there's no divergence here. There's just a cross. So that's another nuance, right? There is no divergence in price there, right? Except there is when you look at it from a wave to wave basis. This was the last high, right? So see how we set a new high? It's flat divergence. We didn't set a new high in the MACD, right? I know this is tiny, but I have it separated into 2 screens for most cases, right? So I can pay attention to the wave. So this wave becomes very important. It's the biggest wave, push on top, cross underneath, right? See that right there? Okay. Close 1 underneath, shift underneath. We've now crossed, right? So now that we've crossed, the cross actually occurred right here. See that? Clearly, that's where the cross is. Now we're underneath that wave. Now I'm waiting for it to push back the other direction. That occurs right here. So see this shift right here? Shift down. I'm going to open that up. See that shift down? Short, stop right above, right? But now I'm underneath the biggest wave. And we go, whee! That trade right there. Assuming your entry was going to be right here at 28.8875, required roughly a 4-point stop, right? And you ended up going 88.75 to a maximum favorable excursion of 69, right? So 18 points of P&L for 4 points of risk. Pretty damn good, right? What was the distinction between the two? One, you got the biggest distinction between a tiny rotation down and a big rotation down was getting above and below the biggest waves. That was it. That was the key. And that's why it's so important that you know where those delta waves are and how to interact with them. Because, so going back to your question, Bill, that's how you figure out whether your trade's worth a few points or just a couple points. I want to point something out on NQ here real quick. This chart. So here's my NQ, and Bill's like, how do I figure out yesterday how to have held that trade? So Bill nailed the peak on this before we rolled down in the afternoon up here, right? So Bill, now go through the thing, right? I know I have a lot of stuff on this, guys. We'll just do it step by step. We'll pull this down. This is why I have them separated out. Okay, biggest wave up, right? Arguably, demonstratively, biggest wave up. This is the weighted MACD that we're looking at, right? See that? Biggest wave up, hands down. right? You could have argued this. But for many hours, that was the biggest wave up, pushed to the high. And then you can see when we push to the high, as soon as we push to the high, look at the divergence underneath there, right? Huge, right? Okay. Cross. Right here, it's already marked. We'll mark it in red. I don't know who the hell that is, but you got a voicemail. Okay, cross. Right, Bill? So now I'm going to lower this. There we go. Okay, so here's my 310, right? Push back right here, right? So here's the bottom of that wave right over here, right? So we're going to, I think I already have a line drawn on it, but maybe I don't. Damn, this is too many lines. Let's erase all this for a second here. Biggest wave up. Biggest push. We already know that we have divergence on the MACD. Biggest wave up. Close. Underneath, no shift down, right? Shift down came up before. Now that you've gotten the cross, right? Here's your pushback on the 310, right? And you can either choose to short right in it or take your first shift down and put your stop right behind on this bar right here. Either way, that sets you up for your roll to the downside. Now I want to point something out, right? How do you figure out where to cover it? You wait for this to get uncrossed, right? And that would have given you a roll. So let's say that's all you did. Let's say you just took it here, right? And you just covered it when it uncrossed. You didn't even wait for the pushback over here. You said, I'm just going to take it. So worst case scenario is you shorted here, right? Which I don't think you did, Bill. You were right up on top. You shorted 76.61. And worst case scenario, you were at 76.41. If you did what I did, which was take this backside push into here, 82, and now you're watching. You're already from 82 to 33. It's already a 50-point, $1,000 contract trade, right? But either way, right? And then we know where the anomalies are, right? Bill, can you hear me okay? Because this was your question yesterday. How do I figure out how long to hold it? That's how you figure out how long to hold it. So I'm sure you're trading at this point. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm waiting for CL today. I'm expecting to have a big day there, right? But that is how you figure that out. Okay, so that's, again, one, let's see. So we have three things, the wave, and then we can add to it, right? Wave, above or below. One, and then there's decisions within that. Two, divergence on the volume weighted MACD. Three, the cross. Four, the pushback on the 310, right? Five, the 3 cross or the shift up is another indicator, right? 6, now you got to look downfield and figure out how to manage the trade. 7, you got to know when to cover it. 8, you got to be willing enough to patient to wait for it to cross or uncross itself. So see, if I was long from this morning, I could have done the same trade over here. See this? Pushing into lows. Here, I could have done the same thing on NQ. I just wasn't ready to go, right? So NQ, right? Same time I took ES. Price pushing to lows, clear divergence, cross, right? So you can either counter the cross here or here, right? Doesn't matter, right? So notice if I was a bit early in the first few minutes, I took this shift up, I got stopped. See that? Okay. Next is wave. Where's my last wave? Down. Because that's what I want to see. So it's this 4 cross right here is what I'm going to tag. Okay. Okay. Clear shift across. Now, notice here that when we got this, this was the first cross. Excuse me. This is technically the first cross right here, and it's already pushing back. I'm just looking for a shift up. Notice when you're down there, you actually didn't get a shift up. See that? Oh, I take it back right there. See that? So this shift stopped, technically. This shift stopped, technically. This one launched. So there are stops in this process, right? Why? Because I have to get above this wave, right? Now watch, I have one more place I can enter this trade and still make a killing. So if I enter here, so let's do it hypothetically, right? Let's say I entered, let's say I was just uber aggressive. Well, we're not crossed here, so there's no issue here, but you could arguably say we're crossed here, right? So I could go long here. I can just simply go long here, right? Claiming that that'd be awfully close, but just claiming we're crossed, right? So I take a 76.19 against the 76.09. So let's just call it 10 points down the drain, right? So then here's the next cross right over here. We're still negative. There's my next shift right here. I'm long 76.09. I burnt 10, right? But now look. So now I've uncrossed to the upside over here, right? So notice I don't recross back to the downside to all the way over here. We're going to color this yellow so we can find it, right? So I've entered, hypothetically, here at 76.09. I'm already down 10 on the day. And if I hold all the way to that point, I've had a maximum favorable exertion of 09 to 44. So even if I took the 10, I'm still up 23 points, right? And then now you're getting divergence on top, right? Now you're getting see the price divergence on top? Now I'm getting the flip back. So there's my cross. There's my cross again. Here's my pushes back, right? And now I'm hoping for a roll back to the downside. And I just get a tiny roll. Why? What's the problem here, right? Problem is there's my last wave, right? If I don't get below it, it's going to get defended. So unless I'm below, so there's two ways to do it, right? You can reverse it the other way and just go, hang on and wait till I'm close to getting underneath the wave before I execute the trade, so I know I have a bigger extension, or be mentally able to flip back and forth on the trade so that you can catch it. Either way, it doesn't matter, right? They both work. Both trades work fantastically, right? Oh, and I was going to show you one other thing. If you waited to get above the wave over here, see how we're clearly above the wave and still uncrossed, right? And see how you get this first shift back? And you can wait after we get above the wave for a shift up above the wave right here, right? And you still end up with a trade from roughly 76.30 to 76.48. Still a fantastic trade, right? And now you're looking to take it the other way if everything else is setting up within the parameters. So my goal is to simply get it set up so that I can grab both directions appropriately. That's it. That's my goal. And then to make the distinction between where's the big wave, where's the little wave, and how do I want things to set up. And that's how I can distinguish between the bigger trades and the smaller trades, right? Some are scalps. I'm above the big wave. I'm going to have to be planning to scale heavy because I'm not underneath. I'm getting underneath the big wave. Yes. Let me plow into this baby hard and scale very lightly, right, as it's pushing down, because I'm going to have a bigger trade in my favor. Does that make sense? So that's how we're going to do it. Let's go ahead and set up the chart for the day. Again, I'll have NQ off to the side. I'll have ES as the primary chart, and I'll have CL over here to the right. But I have CL on one screen. I have ES on another screen. And then what I'm going to do here is leave everything as is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a duplicate chart on ES with just the waves. So let's do this. Chart settings. I have a lot of freaking charts. I'm going to have to clean this thing up. I don't need this. Okay, so chart. Don't I have an NQ profile over here? Yes. Close. Yes. chart. Okay, so on the left is just the wave, right? So I know for today, this is still the wave I need to get underneath. This is the next wave over here. So let me erase all this. There we go. So you already know where the levels are. I've posted them up, right? This is 2800, excuse me, 2880 is what I need to get underneath to get any kind of extension. The other wave is this big wave right here, which is a little bit lower. And really, you need to get underneath to get this, to get a big extension. And then if you get over this push down right here, see this? They put a boatload of energy into pushing lower and went nowhere on that, right? So watch for them to get above that level would push us up, right? Okay, over here, what I can do is take this down and push this up, push this up. Okay, there's my volume weighted. There's my 310. Right? So now I can basically, I need pretty much very little information over here on this one. Wow, y'all have terrible timing. And I'll agree with everything that he said, right? The deeper pushes are better. You can see as we're pushing into the highs up here, the divergence, right? You see the cross. So now that we got, see when we got this cross right here, see how this is pushing against, see the shift down? That was the entry. Then what do we have to get underneath, right? If you're going to take this trade, you know you've got to beat the bottom of this wave or it's just going to snap right back up against you. And you know if you get above 28.87, watch out. They can push really hard to the upside, right? But that's your entry, exit, stop. Trailer, you know you're not underneath the wave or even close to breaking that wave yet, right? So just wait patiently. Would be my comment there. And then I'll monitor things on, I have NQ on one screen, split just the same way. So I have one with just the waves. Right, so this is my NQ screen, and I will figure out a way. I will get another service so I can flash both of these at the same time, and you can look whichever one you're trading. You can look at, right? But they both work very well. What I'm going to do here, because I don't need this, is I'm going to push this down, and now I have them just simply split between two windows, and I have the same thing going on CL, right? So I can see price. I can see waves and I can see setups, right? And I will organize this. So one, I have the 310 on top, one I have it on bottom. I'll get it organized so everyone can see it. And I know when this is crossed down, I don't care if it's pushing up, right? I don't care. I want to say it again. I don't care if this is pushing up. And if I want to be aggressive, I can short against that high, right? But where I really wanted it to do is I wanted to catch this cross right here, right? And then short when it did this right here, right? Which would have given me a beautiful roll to the downside. Now I can just wait patiently for another cross and I'm going to let it reset. Oil's in just a couple of minutes and I will set up the oil chart as well. But like I said, yesterday I had no problem putting down pretty awesome pointage, and I think we will do it again today is my guess at some point, right? So one sec, let me set up CL here real quick. What I want is a 10 range to keep up with the bigger picture. 7 range here. Okay, and on CL, going into the number, let's just look at it really quick. Again, you should already have the key levels from the day time frame here. This is your biggest wave, right? You get underneath that thing. That's kind of my line in the sand. See how they can't get underneath it, right? And then the real big one is this right here, right? So I want to keep up with that because I know right, set up below there. Again, with no regard to the anomalies. But I know underneath 60-70, there is room to the downside. That's the biggest push up during our session, right? This is the biggest push up. Okay, so even if I get underneath this, remember, this is likely to get defended. Just keep that in mind. Underneath here, so what I'd like to see is get underneath here, push back up, and then get a setup, right, off the deltas over here. So what I'm going to do is bring this down a little bit so I can separate these. There we go. There we are. Okay, this is the one I'm really, so see how this is crossing over here? Again, I'm not going to take a trade 15 minutes in front of numbers, but that's what I'm looking for to set up, right? And again, this is my trigger, this is my heads up, right? And then this over here is my structures, right? So there we go. So now I know this is what I need to get underneath. If I don't get underneath it, right, I've got more work to do. So I have one parked over here, and then my screen ends up looking like, well, here, I'll share it. So I don't have to keep moving it. Where's my control panel? So that's, and here I'll share it on YouTube so everyone can see it for a second. I don't know if I can switch screens on YouTube. Let's see if I can. There we go. Just trying. Oops, not responding. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Guys on YouTube, I may have totally screwed y'all. So in which case we'll give it a minute, but if it can't recover, we'll just do it again tomorrow. Let's see. I agree. Daniel, if you can hit me on the Slack channel instead of my phone, would really be helpful, please, brother. The guys on YouTube, I apologize. It looks like by trying to show you my other screen, I blew the thing up, and I'm sorry. So that's that. I'm going to kill the YouTube. If you'd like to come and visit us in the room, send me an email, tradeandperform@gmail.com. It's in the description of this video. Trade well. Have a great day. And oil inventories in 10 minutes. We can get to work. So talk to you in a bit, and see y'all soon. I'll be back tomorrow morning.